Big picture, looking ahead to the rest of the season, Jurgen, what did we learn from either City or Arsenal today?
Well, we learned that Arsenal is ready to kind of go a little bit of a different route, meaning raising the bar in terms of aggressiveness, nastiness, and determination, and being maybe here and there far more often on the edge than they were before in the recent years. I mean, they're two very, very good teams. I think Man City is still the favorite for the title, but it will be a dramatic race, including Liverpool as well. It will be interesting to see, how Arteta now will handle the people management within his group of players. What messages he will send out. But it's been very, very interesting, entertaining too, dramatic as well. I think we're going to see a fight until the very end of the season.
Obviously, Manchester City fans will be concerned, Frank, wanting to hear news about Rodri. It doesn't look particularly positive, certainly at the moment. And an obvious statement then, without Rodri, we know Manchester City aren't quite the force that they are with the Spaniard.
It makes a huge difference, and we saw that going on the floor and maybe having ACL problems. Hopefully, he's going to be back, but for City, it's going to make a huge difference. And again, we saw that today. He knows exactly where to position himself defensively. He's so fast because he sees the game before everybody, like Guardiola was capable of doing when he was playing, and that's a huge plus when you're a centre midfielder.
What did we learn today, Craig?
Well, Kovacic is a good player, really good player. We know that, but Rodri's the best in the world at what he does at this moment in time. I don't think there's too much debate about that. We learned that Arsenal need to control their discipline. We learned that City are not infallible, because once Arsenal got into gear after 20-25 minutes, they started to be able to get some control in the game. They started to create one or two openings. Are very dangerous from set pieces. So no, as Jurgen said, I think City still probably slight favourites in everybody's eyes, but as long as Arsenal can keep the head and have a strong squad and don't lose too many players, I don't see any reason why they can't be in this all the way. But please let's not play the blame game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's not play the blame game that it's everybody else, and just, take control of your own destiny with your decision making on the field. And I think if Arsenal do that, then maybe this season there'll be a match all the way for City. But it's going to be tight. But I do think they are, again, although Liverpool are in there at the moment, these two are still, for me, the two strongest squads in the Premier League.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure we learned an awful lot about either of these two. We know that I think Arsenal will again have the best defensive record in the league, probably by a long chalk. But do they have enough goals from set pieces to threaten Manchester City? I think the big concern around City, and you pointed it out, is the absence of Rodri, and we're not quite sure how long that will be. It's a good sign that at least he walked off. But while for the last two seasons, I think City have won the title, particularly in the second half, with De Bruyne being off for half a season, I'm not sure you can afford that with Rodri. So we'll see how they cope. We know that City will give up goals, but they have the potential to outscore, and we see how that kind of pans out over the longer term. But more and more, as I watch this Arsenal, it reminds me of Chelsea under Mourinho. So much about it, so strong defensively, and now have this edge about them that the whole world is against them. This siege mentality, and it's straight out of the Jose Mourinho playbook of 20 years ago. Everything about it, how organised they are defensively, how organised they are from set pieces, and woe be all of us. Everybody's against us. That's kind of tried and tested.
Well, they've had two star men out at Tottenham and won. They had the star man out in Odegaard today, and a man sent off, and almost won and dragged the point away from the Etihad. So they're showing to themselves that in adversity that they can cope. And when as I said all this week, when you go in the dressing room and you're losing players, and that's inevitable during the season, hopefully from Arsenal's point of view, not for these silly sending-offs, otherwise that will cost them. But when you lose players to injury, it's important to know that the other guys in the squad can come in and do a job. And if you see that in front of you, and they have in these 2 games, that gives you confidence. It gives you confidence that if the manager has to make some changes, that these players coming in are going to be up to the task. And I think that's one thing that Arsenal have shown in these 2 games.